Hey folks, welcome to today's video. It is the end of a long, exhausting weekend here at my house. We've had sport practices, we've had events, we've had musical things to go to, all manner of family life. And mama is a little exhausted, and so I am seated in a quiet corner of my room to film this video for you all today. So here I am. Sorry for the bland background, or maybe you prefer that. I don't know. Let me know. Do you prefer nothing in the background versus seeing a room or a fireplace or something else? Anywho, we are here today to talk about probably the best category of fragrances for the fall, and that is the warm and spicy fragrances. So we've done a lot of gourmand videos this fall. They are linked below in like a playlist for you. Go check that out. We've done all of the yummy, delicious gourmand notes, and I thought we would move over into fragrances that don't really qualify, I don't think. Let me look over here, as gourmands. They're more really truly in the warm and spicy category. When I think of warm and spicy, notes that typically come to mind for me are ones like cinnamon and nutmeg and cardamom and ginger. Sometimes I think of woody notes like sandalwood, maybe even a little oud. I don't know if we have any oud in the house today. And perhaps some of these fragrances have gourmand aspects or gourmand notes in them, but they aren't really. Maybe one is a gourmand, maybe two. Sorry, let's get into this. We've got 10, 10 fragrances that I've picked from my shelves that I want to share with you as beautiful options for the fall. And then I have others in the pinned comment below. So before we get started here, I'd love for you to drop in the comments, when you think of warm and spicy in fragrances, what is the one note that comes to mind that rises above all others for you? Drop that down in the comments. I'm going to say for me today, it's probably the note of cinnamon. So first on my list is one that I don't think gets a lot of love over on female fragrance reviewer YouTube land. It's one that I've had in my collection for a while. In fairness, this is marketed toward men, and I actually purchased it for my husband. He wasn't so crazy about it. I happen to like it a lot. It's Tom Ford Noir Extreme. Let's give it up for the gorgeous tailoring of this bottle. Very simple, very masculine bottle, but I like it nonetheless. I think it's very pretty. Fragrance inside is heavy on a cardamom note through kulfi, which is an Indian dessert, but it has a lot of cardamom in it. I will say in the heart of this, you get a pretty decent amount of a rose fragrance along with citrus. You get citrus at the top and in the mid, and then it calms down later into its final phases with sandalwood and vanilla, and comes across very creamy and woody and spicy. Another one that is really good on longevity, very decent projection. You know, people across the room aren't going to be able to smell you, so to speak, but further than arm's length, it has a lot of presence, very nice, spicy, creamy, vanilla, woody fragrance that I think performs well and is underrated. And try it out if you're interested in spicy fragrances. And I will say, if you're missing Tom Ford Noir Parfums, this is maybe a tiny bit more of a unisex version of that. It definitely has that kulfi note that's in the Noir Parfum. So maybe check this out if you're missing that fragrance and the fact that it's discontinued. It's not the same. That one is a little bit more feminine and heavier on the sweeter vanillic aspects of it. This one is a little bit more truer to spicy, if you will, than that one. But neat fragrance. And if you're near a cosmetics company store, they typically will be selling Tom Ford, sometimes half off, even 60% off if you hit a really great sale, and you can get this huge bottle on a deep discount. Another fragrance heavy on cardamom that I think is great for year round, but for those of you that like seasonally based fragrances and can't think of wearing this in the summer, like your mind just can't wrap your head around it, try Dolce Amalfi from Xerjoff here in the fall. This is such a delightful fragrance. Love the color of this frosted, beautiful golden bottle that reminds me of what this smells like. Beautiful, like a spicy, juicy fruit, juicy fruit gum, which I have very, very fond memories of juicy fruit gum. It's the gum that my mother loved the most. She chewed juicy fruit gum probably every day of her younger life. And so this reminds me a lot of her. There's a heavy dose of cardamom, a beautiful quince note, which is this bright, like sultry, fruity note at the top of the fragrance. There's a gorgeous clove note. If you like clove, clove is a very particular type of scent. I tend to think of like clove cigarettes that were everywhere in college when I was in college, but cloves, which is a beautiful, spicy fall smell. If you've cooked with it, you know what it smells like. If you've smelled it raw, like in spices, beautiful. It's more like the raw, well, I shouldn't say raw, but just like the spice version of clove versus it being the hot clove that might show up in, say, baked breads and that sort of thing. Nice resinous notes in this fragrance, a lot of vanilla and tonka in the base, a little bit of woodiness, it has a little bit of musk. This is a hefty, meaty fragrance that also has this juxtaposed lightness from those bright top notes that actually stay throughout the fragrance, if you ask me. Like, I smell a lot of cardamom and the quince throughout the life of the fragrance as well. It's not like it's fleeting and goes away, a few minutes after you spray it, like a number of top notes do. You do get that beautiful brightness throughout, balanced by the gorgeous vanilla and musk and woodiness as it develops in the mid and in the base. Hefty fragrance, very much a powerhouse. If you like a good performer, you may want to check out Dolce Amalfi. This thing will be smelled way across the room, and it'll be smelled all day long. Don't make the mistake of overspraying this. Give yourself just a few spritzes of this so that people around you can enjoy this without being suffocated by your scent. It's super, super strong. It's a beautiful one. It is a little bit odd if you're not used to that sort of juicy fruit gum smell that's also spicy and woody and all of the other things that I mentioned. You might find it a little bit off-putting when you try it, but it's one of those fragrances that if you like something different, unique, and you are able to give it a chance, give it a few wears to see what you think of it. When I first put this on, it was slightly strange. I just remember thinking, what is this? What am I really supposed to be smelling here? And as it settled down and that gum aspect, that beautiful, bright, banana-esque and quince factor came through. It's bright, fun, bubbly, yet has that serious sort of foundation to it to bolster it and keep it going all day long. Really fantastic, unique, spicy fragrance for the fall. And for winter, this would be a great fragrance to wear like at Christmas time and all of that as well, all year round. Beautiful in the summer. This is fantastic. A polarizing fragrance that had a huge, huge moment or two or three moments on YouTube just a few years ago, and I still think is beloved by many. It's Side Effect from Initio. This is a difficult one for many ladies to wear, particularly because the opening of this fragrance can come across rather animalic from a heavy, you can perceive to be like a heavy leather note and a deep woodiness. I have it in this category because I love the cinnamon in the fragrance. I think that's beautiful. There's also rum and sandalwood. As the fragrance settles down, it becomes sort of a woody vanilla. You still have some hints of that cinnamon that make it spicy in the end, and a beautiful one for fall. If you don't mind a unisex fragrance, I think that as this settles down, it becomes a little bit more feminine with the vanilla shining through more. But in the opening, it's pretty unisex. Maybe some ladies would think that it leans deeply into masculine territory if they're not used to this kind of fragrance. People either love this or are like, no, that's not for me. But it's known to be a boozy fragrance from the rum, woody from the sandalwood, sweet and feminine from the vanilla, and it also has a heaping dose of cinnamon that I think accompanies the fragrance throughout. Certainly the cinnamon is louder in the beginning and calms down a little bit there toward the end of the fragrance, which, by the way, is late into the day. This is a fragrance that for me goes well into the evening hours if I spray it in the morning. Although, like I said, by that time it's more vanilla, cinnamon, a little bit of woodiness, but it projects pretty far when you put it on, and it projects a lot throughout the day. This is a strong performer. I will also say something in this fragrance that people don't really talk about is the presence of a saffron note, which gives it this sort of airiness. And maybe that's where the leatheriness comes from the saffron, because it can come across like a light, airy leather type of note. Anyway, this is for the bold among you. And for those of you that want your fragrance to stick with you forever and ever and ever. This is super long lasting. You can find this on discounters. Recently, Joma Shop ran a sale where they did a 45% off deal. I've gotten most of my Initio fragrances from Joma Shop on those sales. In fact, I picked up Addictive Vibration, which I'm waiting to come in the mail right now. Where are you, Addictive Vibration? Vibration. I'm waiting for that. I'm really eager to get that. Anyhow, you can find it at Joma Shop full price, or you can wait for one of those sales. You can also find this on So Avant-Garde. I'm a partner with them, and you can use Veronica 20 for 20% off of your order. So check out Side Effect if you haven't. Yes, this one's been kicking around for a while, and it's been talked about quite a lot, but it's been talked about for good reason. And I'm not one to believe that fragrances sort of fall off the radar when people stop talking about them. If they're good, they're sticking around, and I'm loving on them. So check this one out. Y'all, I promise not all of the fragrances that I'm going to talk about are super beast mode. Although as I'm looking at the lineup here, there's a bunch of them. including this one. You will want to make sure you like this fragrance before you spray yourself down with it, because friends, it is not going anywhere for several days, maybe even a week. This is Montale's Honey Oud, or Aoud, however you say that. So the color of this bottle is so fall. Look, it matches my pumpkin nails, friends. It's so fall to me, right? So, yes, this is a very honey forward fragrance, but it also has this absolutely gorgeous woodiness to it. And more than anything, I get like cereal and cinnamon from this. And maybe that's all mixed up with the other notes too. But okay, so friends, I need your help with describing this fragrance, because there was a cereal when I was a kid. I don't even know if it's made anymore. And I was not a big cereal eater, but people around me loved cereal. It was like a rectangle, and it had a square in the middle, and it was definitely made of some kind of wheat material, some kind of grain, that when you put it in your cereal and put milk in it, the results at the end when it was soggy was this weedy kind of mealy smell. This reminds me of that a lot. It reminds me of shredded wheat. Remember shredded wheat? They look like little pillows of wheat. When that got soggy in your cereal, what that smelled like. And imagine if there was cinnamon in that cereal. That's what this gives me, along with that heaping dose of honey. But there's no denying that for me, the cinnamon is super strong in this fragrance. It also has like this resinous, ambery touch to it. Y'all, this is beast, like kind of beast. It goes on and on and on throughout the day, all night. This is the kind of thing when you spray yourself with it and you go to your dirty clothes hamper to go wash it, what you're going to smell out of that hamper is this. It's that, okay? So you got to like honey. You got to like the smell of wheat cereal. You have to love a prominent cinnamon. And there you go. Some woody aspects. I think maybe there's some sandalwood. And like I said, some resinous touches. This is phenomenal for fall and for winter. And I love, love, love the color of the bottle, despite the fact that I am not a Montale bottle fan with the dangly, this is like a grenade. Anyway, grenade type of thing. Let's go on. Maybe one of my very, very, very favorite fall fragrances, and this one will go into the winter. Actually, a lot of these are going to go into the winter as well, is the absolutely to die for, marketed toward men. I don't know why, Oajan from Parfums de Marly. Now, I fell in love with this scent profile through Apple Crumb, which is from Alexandria Fragrances and is a dupe of this. And I loved that little bottle of Apple Crumb like it was my first puppy or something. There was something so delicious about this hot baked apple and cinnamon and vanilla and woody scent that I loved it, loved it, loved it. This is mostly cinnamon and honey and vanilla and tonka bean. It's all the things that I love about this time of year. It's warm, it's cozy, it's sweet, it's delicious. It does smell like you've had apples in the oven and they are so cooked down that they're mushy. You know what I mean? When you get to that point that the absolute like sweetness of the apple is coming out in the air, whatever spices you have, which is usually cinnamon. I usually use some like pumpkin pie spice on my apples when I bake them, but cinnamon is a big player in that. There's that ooey gooiness of it. It's almost like bordering on being syrupy. That's what I get from Oajan. It is so comfortable, so lovely, so perfect for your fall festival type of situation. There is an apple in the fragrance, but I swear it smells like apples baking down in the oven. Add to that a heaping dose of beautiful vanilla, the depth of that lovely, sometimes fluffy tonka bean, cinnamon, and the thickness of the honey, and you have fall perfection for me. This is another fantastic performer. It's not going to disappoint you. This is a friend that's going to hang out with you all day. You're not going to be able to get rid of Oajan throughout the day and throughout the evening. It's going to hang out with you. So this performs well. When I smell this, I live in the Richmond area, and the girls around here, I don't wear riding boots, but the ladies around here, the girls especially, they love to wear the tall leather riding boots. As soon as fall hits, boom, they've got the boots on, and like the vests with their sweaters, poking through the vests. That's what this reminds me of. And I adore this. This is perfection. This is perfection to me. Ladies, do not be afraid that this is marketed toward gentlemen. It is absolutely unisex and has some nice feminine, soft, round touches to it. Oajan, absolutely delicious. Delicious. So I know that Oajan is often compared to the beautiful Angel Share, but to me, yes, there is lots of similarities between them, a lot of similarities. This one, the main difference, this does not, for me, have a booziness to it. It's heavier on that cinnamon, cinnamon, cinnamon apple, honey aspect. This one is more on the boozy, cinnamony, maybe even woody side. Oh my God, this is a fragrance. And there's no chocolate note in Angel Share, but I swear there's something in that confectioner's direction. If you think about the chocolate smell in a shop mixed with vanilla and other scents, there's a little hint of that. Does anybody else pick that up in Angel Share? That's more recent for me. I would not have known to even think that years ago because I was just looking at the note structure and thinking, oh, this is a boozy, cinnamon, vanilla, woody fragrance. Now that I can just sort of think for myself about what I think a fragrance smells like and not be tied to what the notes tell me to smell, I do pick up something in like the dark, milky, dark chocolate direction. Ooh, 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 so good, so good. This is a beauty of a fragrance. Another one that has extreme lasting power and a lot of projection and smells really good to the people around you. So whereas Oajan leans more in like the apple smell direction, even though it doesn't have apples, this leans more in the cinnamon, boozy direction, more squarely. I do enjoy the bottles. This is one of the fragrances that I bought when I first started my channel. And if you're new to my channel, I've been into fragrances since I was a little girl. But in terms of like serious collecting, I probably always had like 20 or 30 fragrances on a dresser somewhere. But I had no idea that my collection was going to balloon out of control the way it has as I've been doing this channel. And, sacrificing my skin and my nose by testing all of these fragrances for you all. I just love to buy fragrances, really. But that's my excuse. I'm testing for the people. It's for the culture. I'm doing it for the people and the culture. But I got a lot of fragrances. I had a backup of this is where I'm going. I've since sold that off to some lucky person out there who got a bargain on this. But whenever I get through this bottle, I would absolutely repurchase this fragrance. It is one of my all-time favorites, and a beautiful Christmas scent too. So a lot of these are great for Christmas too. A gem in this category that not a lot of people talk about, and I think is just fabulous. It's in the same family as Oajan and Angel Share, but it is its own fragrance, and this is Boucheron Ambra de Alexandrie. This is very much an amber fragrance that smells a lot like it also has apples and maybe a touch of honey and tobacco. I don't think there's any honey or apples in the note structure, but I definitely get a sense of that. Heavy on the vanilla as well. I would say another difference between this and Angel Share and Oajan, if those feel really thick and heavy to you, this might be one that you want to explore. If those are like the highest tier of thick and heavy, this is maybe a tier down. It's still a pretty significant fragrance when you put it on. Another one that has great lasting power, great projection. You're not going to have a performance issue out of this fragrance. But it is lighter in texture slightly. It's not faint by any means, but it's not quite as thick and heavy and dense as Angel Share and Oajan. It's just a touch lighter than that I think makes this maybe more tolerable for people that just don't love that like heaviness of those fragrances. This is another one that has a spiciness to it, very ambery, vanillic, so good. Just a delicious fragrance. And I think these bottles, they're huge. They're 4 ounces. You can usually find them on discount sites for about $100, maybe a little above or a little below. I think I have seen this on Joma's shop if you're interested in checking out whether it's there. I have a link below to Joma's shop if you'd care to shop through there. This is also available on Harrods. If you know of another retailer in the States that has the line out and available for people to sniff, please let us know in the comments. Fabulous fragrance. And, in the world of perfumery right now, where prices are getting a little crazy, being able to find this huge bottle for at 100 or below or a little bit above might feel like a bargain to some of you. I really enjoy these bottles. And I think that Boucheron considers this more like their privé, their special line. So check this out. I'm going to go next to an affordable fragrance and then end with 2 of my current loves. All of these are loves, but you know how you get obsessed with groups of fragrances at one time or another. I have an obsession with the last 2 that I'll talk about in just a minute. But I did want to pause and say, if you are interested in more affordable versions of some of the fragrances that I've talked about, in particular, Side Effect, Oajan, and Angel Share are frequently duped. So check Alexandria fragrances. If you're into Dua has some dupes of these. And I'm sure there are a lot of other dupe houses that have done imitations of those. So if you happen to know some really good ones for Angel Share, for Oajan, really any of the ones we're talking about, but Angel Share, Oajan, and Side Effects, some of the more expensive ones, drop that down in the comments so our friends that are looking for more affordable options can go check those out. And speaking of affordable, this fragrance doesn't last long, and really none of the ones from this house, this line, last a long time, but boy, do I have fun with them. This is from Demeter, or Demeter, as some folks pronounce it, Demeter Fragrance Library. I'm just going to say Demeter because that's what I've been saying for years. So that's what we're going to call it today. This is called Cinnamon Bun. Cinnamon Bun. And oh my goodness, it smells exactly like a buttery cinnamon bun. I'm a big fan of the smell that wafts out of Cinnabon at the mall or at airports or whatever. I can't really eat them because they're calorie bombs and sugar bombs, but oh my goodness, the smell of a cinnamon bun from Cinnabon is like the most divine thing on the planet. I mean, it's almost as special to me as like a baby's smile or a little baby's chuckle. You know how that's like the most beautiful thing in the world? There's something about the smell of a cinnamon bun that just kind of rivals that. It's close, not quite, but close. Something in that neighborhood. This smells really good. These are cologne sprays. Okay, so you can probably get this cinnamon bun or any from the Demeter library that are in this gourmand territory for, you know, this big bottle for 20 something dollars. You can spray down your bedding, you can spray your robe, you can spray your towels, you can spray yourself, your hair, your clothing. You can spray anything with this, and I love that. And it's inexpensive, fleeting. You know, you'll get a few hours, 3, 4, maybe 5-ish hours out of the scent of this. And it's not serious, but it definitely smells like a beautiful cinnamon bun for the fall here, and maybe some of those other pumpkin pie types of spices as well. Nutmeg, cardamom, maybe some anise in the fragrance also. It's super. It's super. A touch of clove. So fun, so inexpensive. It's hard to go wrong with these. I have a bunch of these around the house. A scent that has grown on me more and more as I've tried it, tested, played with it. When I first tested it, it was in one of those like purchase or pass hyped fragrances video, and I liked it, and I had like a maybe in terms of whether I would want to buy it or not. And then saw it on Twisted Lily. I'm a partner with Twisted Lily, and you can use Veronica 10 as a code on your entire order on Twisted Lily if you'd like to shop on there. Great niche lineup on there. And I purchased a bottle, and I ended up getting a small one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to commit to a huge bottle. And now I wish I had gotten the big bottle, although we know how these fragrances go. This is Mancera's Tonka Cola. Oh my God, this is so delicious. It's for me in the same family as some of these others. Oajan, Angel Share, all of those, Ambre d'Alexandrie. So heavy on the cinnamon, beautiful vanilla, like a sweetness from the vanilla. It has a little bit of citrus that lends some brightness in the background. I wouldn't call it a citrus fragrance, but it adds like a zing to it that I think is really fun. There's a nice light cherry note. The cherry note kind of dies down as the fragrance develops on you. It's like a great opening note. And a lot of people talk about this smelling like Coca-Cola on their skin, the way that the fizz, when you first pour a cup of Coke or any kind of, you know, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, anything like that, even maybe Dr. Pepper. Ooh, this is so good. It's such a fun fragrance. It's so spicy. I think someone said it smells like an older gentleman's fragrance to them. I guess I can get like way in the background, something like that. But I will say the addition of the citrus and the cinnamon staying prominent in this, I think keep this fun and playful and just beautiful for fall. And like I said, a gorgeous base of vanilla in this fragrance that just makes this a beauty. And I am going to go ahead and spray this on myself and hope that I don't choke my entire family out. My little cheap earrings are going to fade from getting sprayed with this. So fun for fall, so great for holidays in general. I could see this being a fantastic Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything like that. Fall nights by the fire, and you want to smell spicy and cozy and warm and fun and flirty. Tonka Cola, super duper growing on me. Loving this scent. A love at first sniff fragrance, and I've got it at the tail end here because it is just all of the things in one that I love about fall and gourmand scents. While some of the ones that I've talked about aren't really gourmand, I think this one is definitely in gourmand territory, but also very much in the spicy category. I could have put this in my coffee video. I could have put this in my milky and creamy fragrances video. I could have put this in my caramel video. I could have put this in any number of vanilla videos, but here we are in the warm and spicy category because that is what comes across to me when I wear Café Cabanel from Théo Cabanel. I think this bottle is so quirky and fun. This fragrance is subtle. So a lot of the ones that I talked about are super beast mode, like, woo, they will give and give and give. This one, it's a little bit more demure. It's going to hang out with you midday. And then this one kind of gets tired of you and goes away to retire so that it can come back another time in its full glory. It's a much more subtle, well-rounded, less loud fragrance than the others. Maybe it's like a shy gourmand in some ways. That's to say, it has a nice little scent bubble. It doesn't project far. And like I said, moderate longevity. I have it here in this category because the cinnamon is pretty dominant for me throughout the majority of the fragrance. When you first spray it on, it has this thick, rich, luxurious, creamy texture to it, alongside the cinnamon, alongside of vanilla. There's some hints of that coffee at the beginning. As it mellows out, I find that I get a little bit more of a thinner texture to the fragrance, still heavy on the cinnamon, and then a caramel note comes out to play alongside the vanilla. So all in all, it's a lovely, cozy, comforting fragrance. The best way that I can describe this is smell wafting from coffee shop, that kind of scent, along with a lot of, like I said, cinnamon. It's not as cinnamon heavy as this one. This is like a cinnamon grenade. This is a much more subtle cinnamon, maybe the type that you might sprinkle on some coffee. You sit it on the counter and there's like that little like pepe le pew type of scent cloud that's making its way over to you. That's the cinnamon that I get here. This is a much more subtle player, lovely to wear under sweaters or when you're wanting to feel cozy, beautiful when you're around the house in your cozy pajamas, your flannels, and lovely to wear out under a scarf and a warm jacket in the winter. Just delightful, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. So that, my friends, rounds out the 10 from my collection that I wanted to share with you in this warm, spicy category. Check the pinned comment for a bunch of others and tell us about what you love. What are the warm and spicy fragrances that you either have in your collection, you want to have in your collection, or that you've sniffed on someone else that you would tell people to run out and check out? Thanks so much for hanging out with me. See you in the next video. By the way, friends, the Femme Fatale Vanillas video is coming up after this one. You don't want to miss that. That's going to have some absolutely fantastic, beautiful vanillas for fall, winter, really all year round. But we're going to enjoy them here in the fall. So check out that video next. Take care, friends. See you next time.